part of taking care of yourself and thinking about your organs and living tissues is really thinking about your hair. So take some information from our trichologist, Rodney Barnett.
These are now hair shaft. The hair shaft is the visible part of the hair that we see and we comb and we brush. That is the part of the hair that normally gets some type of chemical process if a person is not wearing natural hair. Some of the chemical processes are permitted waves, you know, where you want to put a curl into the person's hair, so you use a particular chemical that'll do that. Others are called relaxers, which are chemicals that actually remove the curl from the person's hair. And then, of course, we have color. You know, when a person wants a color change where they either want the hair to be lighter or they want it to be darker. Well, there's a certain chemical that has to be used in all of these processes on the person's hair in order to make about that change. These chemicals, even though they're safe to be used if they're worked in a controllable atmosphere, if it's not, can actually cause the hair shaft to expand so much that it can actually burst just like a balloon would. And in that particular case, a person is going to lose their hair in that particular instance. So what happens when a person has that particular type of disorder, we have to either cut the hair off where the hair has actually broken. We call it overprocessing is the correct terminology that's used. But in all cases, the overprocessing doesn't always break the hair off. So there are certain chemicals that we can actually use on the hair to actually reverse the process. We call it contracting. It actually takes all of the swelling, just like you would let the air out of a balloon. You can actually contract all of the swelling that the chemical has actually created in the hair shaft. The picture is actually what the hair looks like once a chemical has been applied to the hair. Now, the first photograph is what we call virgin hair, or hair that has never been treated with any chemicals whatsoever. That's exactly what hair looks like when you actually take it and you look at it under a scanning electron microscope. It can actually take one strand of hair and make it look like the size of my arm. Then the second photograph is how much swelling actually develops in the hair once you put a chemical on the hair, such as a chemical relaxer. The hair actually swells. You notice the discoloration too in the hair, and that's because once the hair begins to swell, light can filter in and you can begin to start seeing some of the natural color pigmentations inside the hair. Now, the third photograph is after we begin to put the chemical process on the hair to actually contract and take the swelling out of the hair. And the last photograph is actually what the hair looks like once the chemical process that we utilize as a trichologist would do to the person in order to take all of the swelling out of the hair. Putting the hair back in its safe range, again, is what we call it. Okay, you heard me mention the word overprocess. Remember I said hair can swell so radically? Well, that's exactly what will actually happen to the hair. It will do just exactly what a balloon would do. If I blow actually too much air into a balloon, what will happen to the balloon? It'll burst. Exactly the same thing will happen to a hair shaft. If you put a chemical on the hair that's either too strong for that person's texture or it's left on too long, it'll actually expand so radically that it'll just burst, just like that balloon would. We call that overprocessing. Talking about the distinct characteristics that you can visibly see. It either is a pattern that starts in the temporal front hairlines of a person, or it can actually exceed back to what we call the parietal or the crown part, the very top part of the head. And diffuse simply means that it's throughout. There's no particular type of pattern where a person is losing hair. In fact, you may not even be able to visibly be able to see that a person is losing hair. One of the characteristics, though, is that a person has excessive hair loss. So when they get up in the morning and they do any combing or they do any brushing, they might see hair in the sink, or they might see hair on their clothes. They might see hair on their pillowcase when they shower and shampoo in the shower. They may see excessive hair in the trap of the tub that they're showering in. Or if they go to their hairstylist when shampooing their hair might see excessive amount of hair in the shampoo bowl after a shampoo has been given to that client. So the distinct characteristics of diffuse alopecia is that you will see excessive amount of hair. Now, normally everybody is going to lose a certain amount of hair every day. I mean, that's just natural to lose somewhere between 50 to 80 strands of hair every day, because your hair is constantly replenishing itself, just like your body is constantly replenishing itself. Every year you get a new body, and hair is no different. That's part of that body. So it's normal for persons to lose a certain amount of hair every day. What's abnormal is to lose more hair than the body is able to manufacture every day.